there's a bunch of movies that are about to come out about serial killers. Like, there's one that's about to come out about Jeffrey Dahmer.
They just came out with was it Jeffrey Dahmer?
I think
on Netflix.
Actually, I think that was Jeffrey Dahmer.
It's played by what's his face from High School Musical.
Zac Efron.
Zac Efron, right? Is that Jeffrey Dahmer or is that? I'm thinking of different. No, that's not Dahmer. That was Ted Bundy. Thank you.
That I was about to say.
Producer Ashley to the rescue.
Yes. But yeah.
I'm telling you, babe, you need to be my producer. She can produce from the bedroom.
That sounds naughty.
You can just text me. You can just text me the information we're talking about. But yeah. So there's some romanticizing going on, but at the same time, we're really fascinated. We as human beings who are normal, who don't think like that, will almost look at them like animals. Like
I think that's just like us with everything. How we're so fascinated by the worlds we don't live in.
Like
I think that's why like comic books and things like that are so popular, because we don't live in those worlds. We don't see that. It's a story that we will never live, that we can just only outside looking in take a look at, and it will always interest us.
Right.
The things we can't touch or see will always
stories. Yeah, stories are very powerful. Especially stories where they're sort of metaphysical, cause they're blockbuster hits, but there are a reason why they're blockbuster hits, the Avengers. Like there's a reason why the Avengers are so, not only are they fantastically written and special effects, and they did comic books right for a change, which is really fascinating to think that they're DC kind of fell off there for a second. They were on They were doing good with the Dark Knight series.
Yeah, the Dark Knight, and then the Man of Steel. That was as much as the Superman story has been told, that was done really well. I really like Henry Cavill.
I've heard different. I've heard a mixed reaction of the Man of Steel movie.
Well, I liked it. I
did too. Henry
Cavill, he made a good Superman.
Yeah, he made a good Superman. It was a little bit darker, a little bit more adult.
And I think that's what I liked about it, is because the Dark Knight series, it painted a more edgy Batman story. Which, I mean, Batman was already edgy, but he's never really been portrayed like that. So far we've seen Michael Keaton, which that was Tim Burton, and it was
really dark.
Yeah, it was dark, but it had a whimsical aspect to it,
almost like circus, especially the sequel.
Yeah,
the Tim Burton sequel.
And then all the other Batmans never really. It painted him as a crime stopper more so than this vigilante.
Yeah, this tormented soul, know. Ooh.
Spooky.
As I said, tormented soul. Oh man, I really hope that came across in the recording. That'd be really cool. This tormented soul. Come on. All we were missing is some lightning flashing.
Just scared face, just look at the camera.
But that's what makes me excited. But see, I think that's DC's making the right decision in making just sort of throwing paint on a wall, with especially with this whole new Joker movie that's coming out with starring Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah,
dude, I'm super interested.
I'm excited for that one. Yeah,
because it's so weird, and it's such a weird concept to make a comic book villain.
Yeah, it's interesting because as far as I know, there's never really been a movie about the Joker, or there's no real storytelling about him, because he just kind of in the comics, he's just kind of this guy that comes out of nowhere. There's no background on him, nothing about him. He's just pretty much there to fuck with Batman. That's his whole thing, was what, let's just make his day a little bit difficult. Where's the drugs? Where are the drugs, Batman?
And he scurries away.
You'll never catch me just prancing around.
Yeah. You don't really... The Joker story... I never read the comics, and the comic book people are going to scream at me for this. I'm sure he does have an origin story. But to my knowledge, he has multiple origin stories.
I think the act, like, I think there's origin stories for like different versions of the Joker, but I think like the original Joker that most people know doesn't have an actual origin. Like,
right.
Because I don't.
Because in the Tim Burton movies, he was like a gangster.
Yeah.
And then in this new one that's coming out, he's a comedian, which is also pulled from the comics. In the comic books, there's this one where he's a failed comedian.
Yeah, there's also ones that he was some sort of scientist and just the chemicals messed him up. Or there's like so many different stories about how he became the Joker. But I think the original like cut dry Joker that we've all seen and known has no real background.
Yeah. But I think it's kind of cool that way.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know his, why is he the way he is?
Yeah, it's just...
Why does he just live to have anarchy?
Yeah, and it's kind of one of those things where, like, you can get a villain who has, all of his motives, and, you can sympathize with him, too. Like, oh, yeah, I understand why he's acting this way. Like,
right.
I probably would, too, put in the same situation. And, that will just kind of, it makes for a compelling villain. But when you have someone who is just a complete wild card, you know nothing about them, none of their motivations. You just know that, they exist in this world and they're here to cause chaos. Like, it's something about that will just kind of make you just see that and just like, oh, so what is he going to do next? Like, who is this guy? What is he doing? Like,
yeah, that's what made Heath Ledger's Joker so great, is because throughout the entire movie, he's always telling you stories that kind of contradictory. Like, which one is true? You don't know. It's a mystery.
Yeah, it's just all over the place. Like, who is this guy? He's like, you want to know how I got these scars?
Yeah, and you're like, how did he get those scars?
You told so many stories. Like, which one of it is true?
I know.
Like,
I mean, like, yeah, man. To this day, man, best Joker. I mean, and that's not just because he died after that. It was just like that portrayal of Joker was like a lunatic, but also intelligent and just.
He had a clear motivation. We just didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And he just went about it.
What was that line? Is like, sometimes it's fun to watch. I just want to see the world burn or something like that. Or is that what's the saying?
It was something like that. Like, some people live to watch the world burn.
Yeah.
Or just
it was Alfred said that.
Yeah.
Some people just like to watch the world burn, Master Wayne.
Which I'm excited for the Alfred movie that's coming out too.
There's an Alfred movie coming out?
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude.
I think it's I forget his last name, but I think it's called like Penny something, or it's comic book people are gonna hate me, but yeah, I forget his last name, but I think the movie is named after that. But it's all about a young Alfred. You
don't know Alfred's story.
Yeah, he's not really. It's funny too, because like he's actually, I think there's comics where he's actually suited up as Batman, and like he's actually been out in the field before in some of the comic stories, and I think they're going to give us like a glimpse of that Alfred.